Hello and welcome to the speaker tutorial. In this lesson we're going to create a speaker housing that our driver that we've drawn in a previous lesson is going to fit into. If you haven't already drawn the driver, you need to go back to the previous tutorial titled Driver and complete that one first. Okay, for those of you who are still with me, we're going to start by going into Google Sketchup. So I'm just going to minimize the screen here, and as always we're going to go down the program list to S, Sketchup 2018, drop the box down and go to the red staircase. Okay, choose template, architectural design millimeters as always, then start using SketchUp. Okay, now it's loaded. This time, rather than drawing from scratch an entire drawing on this page, we're going to open up our driver drawing. So go to Open, and then make sure that S.skp is at the bottom here, SketchUp model, and you should be able to scroll down to your driver. You may have called it speaker, but if I open it, if it looks like this, it's the correct one. Okay, so there's my speaker driver from a previous lesson. What we're going to do for this, if I zoom out by on my mouse rolling the wheel backwards, I can scroll out. I'm going to draw a box for that drive unit to go into. Now it's called a speaker technically when the driver is inside the box. The whole unit is called a speaker. At the moment that is just a driver. So you should have a drawing that looks like this regardless what you call it. If you'd like to open that up, and then we're going to draw on the page here the speaker for it to go into. So before we do that, we're going to go to View, as always, Toolbars, and make sure that Large Tool Set, and if we go to the bottom, Views are both ticked. Okay, go ahead and click Close once you've done that. It may take a minute to update. After you've done that, it may sort of time out. Eventually it'll let you carry on. So we're going to draw a box to go to the side here. So on the same page, roughly somewhere over the side here, I'm going to draw a square. Now I need to make sure the square is large enough for my speaker to easily fit inside it. Okay, so I'm going to go roughly like that there, and then again use the push-pull tool. Just zoom out a little bit with my scroll wheel on my mouse. Push-pull tool, select that, click once, don't click and drag, and we're going to lift it up. Now it depends if I want a tall speaker or a short one. I can decide what kind of height I want. It's up to you which you go for. I'm just going to go for something, I don't know, about that high there. So it looks good to me. Now I've got to start changing the shape of this to make it look the way that I would like it to look. Now I'm just going to do a couple of basic things on this one to show you some of the things you can do, and then I'm going to jump to my finished drawing of or semi-finished drawing of what my one's going to look like, so I don't take your time up just watching me draw really. Okay, so I'm going to round the corners off on my box, so that's the first thing I'm going to do. To do that, I'm going to select the line tool. I'm going to zoom in on one of these corners here. I'm going to draw a line going downwards, and I want that to be at a nice regular number. So let's go, let's type in 40 on the keyboard with the mouse sitting along that edge there, 40, then press enter. And I'm going to click again at the end of that line, so you've got the green dot. Click there and move it across on the axis that locks to the right. So it should be basically red in color if you've got it locked on the axis there. And I'm going to type in 40 for that as well, and then press enter. Now that's going to find my center point for creating a circle. So I'm going to click there at the end of the line for the circle, and again at the end there, which gives me this curve that I can see. I'm going to do that on all four corners. So start a line going straight down here, going to make it 40. You'll notice it's guessing what I'm doing there, so it gives me this red line to indicate that I'm in line with something else. So 40 there, and then it may actually lock at 40 as well the other way. Yes, if you look down in the bottom corner here where it says length, it naturally locks to 40 because it knows I'm doing something on the measurement of 40 millimeters long. I'm doing that quite often, so it's guessed. Right, so I'm going to click on the end of there with a circle, and again on the end of that line. Gives me my 2 circles. Grab the hand tool there, just pull it up so I can go to the bottom. I think I'm going to have rounded corners on the bottom as well, so let's go 40 up there, it's already guessed. 40 in, again it's guessed, and let's click that tool again to go to this side. 40 up and 40 along, lovely. Circle on both of these, starting at the end, carefully making sure I've got that green dot, and then again on the end, and there, there we go. I should have, if I go to zoom extents, this button here makes everything fit in the screen. I should have 4 circles all right at the edge of the box. Lovely. So I'm going to select the line tool, the line here by selecting the cursor or select button, mouse, whichever you want to call it. Press delete on my keyboard to get rid of that line. Press delete on the keyboard. Oh, careful to get the line itself. Delete on the keyboard. Delete on the keyboard. You get the idea. Now I'm going to select the push pull tool. Click that once. I'm going to zoom in so I can click on just this small sort of curved area here. Click it once. Don't click and drag. Click it once. Go to the back of the drawing. Click again. I could do the same on this side if I go to the back. Oh, got to get it right. There we go. Click again. And now I want to do the bottom ones. So let's move down towards the bottom. I might have to rotate the drawing a little bit so it's easier to see. There we go. And push pull. Make sure it highlights just the bit I want. There we go there. And if you find it won't allow you to highlight just this area here, then your distance in and up is not the same size as your circle. So you need to go back and redraw the circle because there is a gap somewhere down the side here or down the side there. So it's not quite measured correctly. Okay, so click there and there again. I've now got curves on my circle. Zoom extends to make it all fit. Lovely. I can get rid of my circles now. They were only there to help me find that. There we go. Delete on the keyboard to get rid of a line once you've selected it. There we go. There's a basic sort of structure for a speaker. You could do something more complicated, obviously. It's up to you what you want to do for your speaker. Now, I'm going to jump forward to one that I've drawn a bit more on so you can get an idea of what can be done. So I'm going to go File. You don't need to do this. This is just for me to show you what I've drawn, so to jump on a bit. Open. And then we're going to go down to speaker 2 for me. Not going to save that one because it's only to show you guys. Right, so I've drawn what hopefully looks vaguely like a penguin at the moment. Exactly the same technique. This started out as a square box. So if I press, I can't press undo. Okay, it started out as a square box. Now what I've got to do, I've got to get this drive unit, this driver, I want to get it into the middle here. Okay, so I need to create a hole that's that size in the front of here. Then I need to move it to place it into that hole. And I'm going to need a little bit more editing on this sort of speaker box as well before I'm finished. Okay, so what you'll need to do when you want to put your speaker into the hole, I'm going to draw a line. Now for me, I've got to find the center of this circle, so that's where I want to put it. So I'm going to draw a line that goes all the way across here. There we go. And that allows me to find the center because it gives me the midpoint of the line. So I know that this speaker, if you've drawn it correctly, it should be, I think, 140 millimeters wide. So the way we check that, if you go down to the dimensions tool here, over on the left hand side, click that, and then you should be able to click, if we're careful, should be able to click right on the edge of the speaker, of the driver, sorry. Try that again. Right on the edge of the driver, and then right on the other edge, and it's telling me it's 145 millimeters wide. Should be 150, so I've not quite clicked the edge. I'll try again. On the outside edge, there we go. to the outside edge. Not going to let me measure it. Well, it should be 150 wide because you set it at 75 millimeters from the center to the outside edge. So it should be 150 millimeters wide. Mine clearly is because it measures 145, but I'm slightly off where I'm measuring it. So it's 150 millimeters wide anyway. And we've got to put a hole in the center of here the same size. So I'm going to draw a circle. There we go. Lock it to that midpoint there. And I'm going to type in on the keyboard. That says radius, so I want to type in 75 because radius is half the diameter. So 75, enter. Now I've got to delete the bits I don't want now. So I don't want this line here. I don't want that line. Press delete on the keyboard to remove something. And I don't want this surface here. So delete again on the keyboard to remove it. I can now see inside my speaker. Yeah, there we go. And I've got to get my drive unit to now fit inside here, which is much harder than you might think. So to do this, we've got to think in terms of axes and what axes we work on. Now you've got a green axis, that's the green line there. You've got a blue axis, that's the blue line, and you've got a red axis, that's the X, Y and Z axes. X is the red one, green is Y and Z is height, that is the blue axis. So we're going to go to the cursor tool, or the pointer, or the mouse, whichever you want to call it, and I'm going to drag a box using that. That's not the box tool, that's not the box tool here, it's the cursor tool. I'm going to drag a box and make sure that all of my speaker is in it, and make sure you don't get anything else in there that you don't want. You only want the speaker, but you do want to make sure that all of it is in there. Okay, I'm then going to right click on it and select make component. Make component. And I'm going to call this one driver. Driver, there we go. And click create when you're happy with that. Right, now that's going to make that one part. Okay, so we're not going to do any more editing to that driver because we're happy that it's finished, but it's made it one part. Now that stops us sort of making mistakes later on when we accidentally stretch it or change the size of it, something like that, which is very easily done when you move things. So I'm going to zoom out using the scroll wheel on my mouse here. I'm going to rotate so you can see where it is in a 3D view. So it needs to come forward. So the trick is to get it so you're looking down onto the axis that you want to move. Okay, that makes more sense when you actually try doing it as I'm doing it. It makes more sense once you've tried it. So I'm going to select the move tool and I'm going to click on the top of my driver. Now careful not to get the protractor symbol up here. If you move the mouse a little bit, it should get rid of the protractor symbol. You don't want the protractor symbol because that will turn it round. We just want to click on the front edge of it. I'm going to click it and I'm going to move it now only in the green axis for me. Now your axis might be the other way round, but you only want to go in that one direction. I want to line it up with the front of my speaker. That's going to take a little bit of time to get that right. So I'm a little bit far forward now. I'm going to go back to the move tool. I'm going to try and zoom in a bit more. That scroll wheel on the mouse. I'm going to move it. Oh, see, I've got the protractor up. See, there we go. Try and get it without the protractor. There we go. And I'm going to try and get it level with the front of that speaker. I think I'm about there now. Now I'm going to change the view, and from the front now, try and get it dead on the front. Try not to do it in sort of a 3/4 view where you can see the top and the side and so on. One face visible ideally, or very close to. Okay, I'm now going to go for the move tool again. I'm going to click, this time I'm going to go for the center of it. I'm going to move it in just the one axis only, which is that's the red axis. If I go past it, red axis, and I'm going to put it right to the front there, and I'm going to click it once more, and I'm going to go straight up, which is the blue axis only, and this time I can zoom in using the scroll wheel again and try and get it to line up with the center of that circle. Lovely, think I've got it. That can be very problematic, so if you're really stuck, the trick is one axis at a time. Try not to move it straight from sort of somewhere over here and just put it straight there. It won't understand what you're trying to do, so it won't go where you're expecting. Okay, so I've got that in the center. That's where I want it. Now, if your speaker wasn't the size that I gave you, which is 75 millimeters when you drew it originally, if you didn't put the measurements in, that's why we need to do it. You see, when we make things, we have to make them fit exact sizes because otherwise you just don't know whether or not something's going to fit. I mean, what if we're going to 3D print this? What if we could only 3D print up to 130 millimeters in size? We'd have to make sure that we drew it small enough to print up to that maximum size. Otherwise it causes problems. So this is where measurement really does matter. Okay, right, so I've got a little bit more editing on my speaker to go. We're going to delete some lines here, so I don't think I need this line here. Pressing delete on the keyboard to get rid of those lines there. Careful not to delete the ones on the side, because they're actually to create the curve. It looks like I've done something good there, but if you look in, I've actually created a hole. So if I go edit, undo, you don't want to click the lines on the side, they're part of the structure. But I probably do want to make these feet go all the way back, I think. Yeah, let's make these feet go all the way back, because at the moment they're just at the front there. So we're going to go with the push-pull tool for that. Click it once. To make it level with something, just move your cursor or your mouse so it's level with the face that you want it to be level with. And then go to the back there. Now I can delete this line here, which should make it one shape inside. There we go. Alright, so we got some feet there. I now should be able to delete the front, and sometimes when you delete things you get this sort of problem here. It suddenly creates a hole that you didn't expect to be there. Don't worry about that. The trick to removing that or getting rid of that issue is draw a line across the space carefully so it goes from one edge to the other edge. It doesn't go near, it actually locks on. It's got a green dot on the other end, there we go, and it fills the space in, and then delete the line afterwards and it should stay there. There we go. Right, so we got that far, looking good. I might keep the line that I've got going round here so that I can have different colours for my for sort of the belly of this or something. So now I'm just going to add some colours in, and we'll see where we get. Oh no, I just want to delete that line there actually. Let's delete this line here and this one here. There we go. That looks about right to me. Okay, so over to the paint pot. I'm sure you know this bit already. I'm going to go for black, which is probably at the bottom there, and that would be that part there, that part there, there. I can leave that white, and we've got something looking like a penguin. I'm going to need some sort of orange, probably for the beak here. Let's keep colours. Go to, let's find a nice orange for that. Maybe that one. Not too bad, that looks okay to me. Do I want to delete the lines that go up and down there? Maybe. Let's have a look. Yes, I think that's probably better. And now I'm going to go with a black for the centre of the eyes, because I missed that. I could put that as blue. Should we try it? See what blue looks like? Let's try that blue there. Not sure. I think blue's probably better. Right, so we have a penguin with a speaker in the middle. I could do something with the feet, putting toes on, but for now, that's going to be it. It's up to you what you do for yours. You can obviously draw one. If you want to make a second one, the way to do it is once you finish the whole speaker and you're certain that you're happy with it, you don't want to change anything on it. I could put ears on here or something. I'm going to drag, using the select tool, I'm going to drag a box over all of it. Make sure you get all of it and nothing else that you don't want. Right click and go make component, which makes it one thing, and I can call that speaker. Create, there we go. I can now hold down, select it first. It's already selected, but select it first, so click on it. It should select all of it, because if you've done the last stage correctly, all of it should highlight when you click it now, because it's one thing. You can drag a box over it if not, and then you can, on your keyboard, hold down Control, which is in the far left hand corner. CTRL is the button. You're going to hold that button down and press C. So I'm holding Control down, just going to tap C while Control's held down. Let go of both, and now I'm going to click off it. And I'm going to do the same again, hold Control down, but instead of pressing C, I'm going to, while holding Control down, I'm going to tap V. There we go. Now it looks like nothing's happened, but if I move my mouse, there we go. There is a second speaker that I've just created there. Just got to find out where to place it, and again you've got to work out the moving tool, try and get it, move it where you want it to go. Now if you've got two of those, you've got a speaker for the left and a speaker for the right. If you want, you can draw the hi-fi that goes in the center. If you finished early, that will be your next task. Fantastic. Okay, so I'll just move that into place, and then we're going to screenshot it and drop it into our portfolio. Okay, so move tool there. Let's click the back of it, I think this time, and we're going to go in line with the other one. Have a good look around it. Yeah, we need to come down, don't we, to make it level with the other speaker. So move tool, viewing from the front now. That's it. Might let us go in line with something. Oh yeah, oh maybe. There we go. Lovely. Now I might want to go further apart if I want to draw like a hi-fi unit that goes in the center. That looks good to me. Okay. So good with those two. Going to select off it so that it doesn't sort of ruin it. Now I want to select my views. That's the back for some reason. So let's do the back. Obviously clicks the front. I'm going to zoom in a bit so that I get the largest picture I can get them in on. Move my mouse out of the way, and on my keyboard tap on the top right hand corner as before, press the button that says PRT SCRN, print screen. Just going to tap that one, and then I'm going to go back over to my portfolio. My portfolio is already open. Yours will be in your classroom as always, so go to your Google Classroom code. In this case I'm currently using 8TTE, and then select portfolio. I've already got one open, so I'm going to close that, and you want to scroll down to quite close to the bottom now. I'll scroll down to the page that says creating a speaker, and a couple further on you'll find add 3 screenshots of your finished speaker to this page. So I'm going to right click on the page, select paste. Again, I can crop it down using the select the image first, click the crop image button there, and try and get the black bars. So you can crop it down to just your speakers. Obviously you've got your hi-fi in there as well, that'd be great. There we go. Click enter on the keyboard or click into empty space away from the photo, whichever you want. There we go. I can now shrink that to be a view from, it says from a side, so that'll do. There's one view, and obviously you want a 3D view. We've been through this before, so I'm sure you can do it. There's a 3D view. Scroll out a little bit with the wheel, mouse out the way, print screen, back into your portfolio, right click, paste, and crop that down to just the speakers again. There we go, and we obviously want that in the 3D view box, and then we want a view, well, from above or any other view really. If you've got things you can add on, if you want, you could add like a little hole here for a jack to go in, you know, for your iPhone to plug into, or maybe a mains power cord would attach in there as well. You can draw any of that stuff on the back, anything that you want, because this is now your creation, so be inventive with it. Doesn't have to be a speaker that stands on a table. This could be a big floor standing speaker, or it could have lots of drive units in it as well if you're willing to do that. The more you do, the higher your grade will be for it, so be as creative as you like. Right, now I'm going to go for a view. Let's go from the back. Yeah, let's have a back view, so that'll be that one there. Zoom in a little bit, move the mouse out of the way, print screen, and we're going to right click, paste, crop that down, and drop that one in as well. There we go. Now we've got to shrink that down to fit in the box. Lovely. Okay, so I've got my 3 screenshots there. If there are any questions underneath, please answer those. And then you need to go onto the EMA speaker questions. These questions may change when on the version that you have. That's okay. You just need to answer the questions that are on there in full sentences, please. I don't want one-word answers. A lot of the marks for this course are reserved for answering those in detail. Okay, fantastic. Well done. Thanks very much.